Yeah, I'd love to respond to this real quick before we get Lance in here. I'm also excited to hear Lance's take on all of this. But yeah, shout out to you, Darren. That's an interesting point. Zach and I kind of alluded to this yesterday in the live stream. And honestly, I genuinely do think that Nina Turner will be involved with Cenk's presidential campaign in some way. I think that probably they're kind of figuring out exactly how to order the ticket, like whether she's going to be running as president or he's going to be running as president, who will be the running mate. And the reason why I think Nina might end up actually being at the top of the ticket is because she's a natural born U.S. citizen and she wouldn't have to deal with the issue that Cenk would have to deal with, being that he was born in Turkey and his parents are immigrants. So, that kind of takes him out of the running in most people's eyes. He claims to have like a legal workaround or some theory that allows him to run for president despite that. But I do think having like Nina Turner at the top of the ticket would make it easier for it to even, be a viable at all campaign in the first place. Not that I think it would be viable, but that's my theory. Maybe I'm totally off base. It's very possible that Nina Turner has nothing to do with this and this is all just wild speculation. But given the fact that she's been teasing something and given the fact that she's such a, part of Cenk's inner circle seemingly at this point, I do imagine that it's going to be connected, her announcement and Cenk's upcoming presidential run or whatever.
I really hope that's not true. Hi, friends.
Hey, what's up, Lance?
Hey, what up, Lance? Good to see you.
Okay, so is that true? Because I'm hearing you talk. I was just listening to what before I came on, and you're saying that like Nina Turner is apparently going to be his VP. Is that a rumor?
Okay,
is that based on reality?
This is where we're at, right? So what happened yesterday is Gavin and I are doing our live stream, and we're waiting for Cenk's interview with breaking points to drop because we're like, oh boy, that's got to have something good in there, Let's milk that for a little bit. And then Gavin's like, holy shit, dude. Cenk announces 2024 presidential ambitions on this episode. And now here's where it does get into a little bit of a knitting circle analysis, Lance. You're gonna have to bear with us. But what we've you follow Nina Turner on Senator
I
Nina
do.
Turner
big
on
fan.
Twitter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big fan, absolutely. And her show was recently sunset on TYT, so she's still a contributor over there. Obviously, she was reacting to the Republican primary shit show debate over the other day, but not, they've moved her on from being like wrapped up in like the day-to-day production of content, which, okay, so now she's got a lot of free time. And she's also been traveling around and she keeps hinting at an announcement. Oh, I've got a big announcement. Oh, I've got a big announcement. There's a big announcement coming. Just wait only one more week until my big announcement. 2024, Cenk's talking about staffing up. He's really been spending a lot of time with Senator Nina Turner, at least on air in the TYT nebulous. He's not a natural born citizen. He was born in Turkey, obviously. All these things kind of add up to he can't run for president without a team. What do you think, Lance? Are we fucking crazy?
Okay, well, first off, I need to know, can you all Americans fill me in? I've heard mixed things. I've heard, because like people were saying, because Ted Cruz, if you don't know, he was born in Canada,
but both of his parents were American.
Yes, right.
You have to be American by birth is the precedent.
Okay.
So it's like,
even though there's no way Cenk could ever run for president of the United States.
I think that he could run. I don't think that they would ever make him president.
Although, according to Cenk himself, and he brought this up on the PBD podcast, actually, when he was recently on there, he claims that that's not true. And that if you actually read the amendment, that the actual language leaves wiggle room for an immigrant to make, or like someone who was, like naturalized later in life as an American citizen to still run for president. And that because of the vague way the amendment is worded, that technically he could still do it. And he was passionately making that case to Patrick Bet-David, who was like, really? I've never heard that. You're telling me I could run for president? I was like, I could see the wheels in Patrick's head turning like, oh shit, maybe I should, get involved too. But so Cenk does claim to, have a workaround or some sort of theory that would let him get in there. Okay. And honestly, we were talking to the guys at Left Reckoning this morning. They made the good point that like, if Cenk does run and he just makes this like one of the big issues of his campaign, that like it's stupid that immigrants can't run for president. It's stupid that you have to have been born in the United States to run for president. Like if he makes that one of the central issues of his campaign, that actually would be based, because it is really stupid and xenophobic that immigrants and people that aren't born here can't run for president, when oftentimes they're just as much, if not far more patriotic and enthusiastic about this country than people that were born here. So
completely 100% agree. Wasn't that Arnold Schwarzenegger's big thing? Not the second part, but the first part. Like when he was going to run for president, there was this huge debate. Can he actually run? And then
that's
he was
why
like,
The Simpsons made a joke where he was president. Yeah.
I am interested though, Lance, before we move off the subject matter, just given your, personal history. I know at one point you were kind of affiliated with TYT. I'd every once in a while see you pop up on the network. Like, I am just interested in what you think of, like, when you heard the news that Cenk was considering a run for the presidency. Do you think that he's even serious about it, if he's just trying to sell books, or do you think he actually could really be serious about making a run for this? And do you hope it happens, or do you hope it doesn't happen?
But so did you all follow the drama with me, us and Cenk? I don't know.
Oh yeah, dude, we documented that shit like crazy.
Oh, okay. So back in the time, so yeah, we had a falling out. He did an amazing impression of me, captured my personality perfectly.
One of my favorite.
Here, I'll name a name. Lance from the Serfs. He's on here all the time on the Power Panel, right? And he comes out and does this video about how he's so correct and oh yeah, the Young Turks, correct? No, Lance, you're not goddamn correct.
I was trying to find that clip before you came on today to introduce you with it, because I love that clip so much.
Lance of the Serfs. You got my trademark phrase. What can I say? I got fucking skewered. What do I think about him running for president of the United States? I mean, I think it would be kind of clown shoes, just because at the end of the day, what was his last election turnout? 5%.
6.6%, less than 10,500 votes.
Okay, is he going to be drawing money, attention, potential funding away from the Cornell West run? Is he going to be in direct conflict of that? Nina Turner is way more qualified to run for president of the United States, as well as way more popular, I would assume, than Cenk would be. So I would hope that's not going to be a presidential ticket with Cenk and her as VP. If anything, she should be fucking running for president herself. But either way, I don't think he's running yet. I think I watched that clip yesterday. He said he's like, I'm begging someone to do it because Joe Biden is going to lose to Donald Trump. He's really worried about that poll that came out. I've also seen a lot of problems with that poll that came out. I think no matter what happens, Trump is announcing that he's won the president of the United States, but I don't necessarily at this time think that Biden is going to lose rightfully to Donald Trump, and that the only solution would be a Cenk Uygur to run against him. I don't know if that's a thing. He said he's basically trying to do a situation where someone else, if he gets a certain percentage of the vote, would be forced to do something, right?
It's almost like a diet Mike Gravel move.
Okay. A diet
Mike Gravel was I don't know if you followed Mike Gravel's
campaign. Oh, no, I loved his campaign. I loved seeing him on the, I loved his, he wanted to push everyone to the left. Right. That was it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and he wanted to get on the debate stage, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I'm at this point, I'm not taking it seriously until I see an official announcement. And honestly, if that is because I've seen Nina Turner building towards something, and again, big fan of Nina. If that's what she's building towards, I would hope that it's going to be Nina, taking charge or something like that. She's got a lot more experience.
I agree. I do think it's happening though. A lot of people have been like, oh, he just said he was maybe going to do it or potentially going to do it. I actually do think it's happening. I think that the plan has already been set and it's, been in motion now for several weeks. Like I said, Cenk has already been kind of dropping hints about this, going back to his PBD podcast appearance a month or two ago. He just published his book, Justice is Coming, the future of a...
Is that why? Is this all part of the book tour? I don't know.
I mean, it's a co-mutual relationship. The book sells the campaign sells the book, and most presidential candidates do launch a book or sell a book, in correspondence with their campaign. And plus his campaign is all about his agenda and the progressive agenda to take over the country and all that stuff. So, it makes sense from that perspective for sure. Also, I think they probably calculated Cenk and Nina. I'm just assuming that they're running together, pure speculation, but sure. I think they waited to see how Marianne would do. And they waited a couple months to see, was her campaign really going to catch on, or is it going to kind of fizzle out? And as Cenk said on Breaking Points the other day, unfortunately, it doesn't really look like she's probably going to make it. If the momentum hasn't developed at this point, it's hard to imagine it really developing in a serious way in the coming months, although I still hope so. So they're probably, calculating, waiting for the next, couple weeks or something when they've, decided is the perfect time. They're going to announce. That's my, honestly, just pure speculation, but I think it's a very high likelihood.
I think you've seen definitely the way both like corporate media and just the institutions of the US are treating Marianne Williamson's run. You know, like her only real ability to get onto mainstream television was on places like Fox News, where Sean Hannity put her on the hot seat and stuff like that, right? But MSNBC and all those other corporate outlets had zero interest in even entertaining the idea of someone running against Joe Biden. And I never like. I think everyone realistically, like we all know the numbers. Like no one is like Biden is going to be the nominee of the Democrats, right? But that I think that's never really been the point with a lot of the individuals. Maybe you know Marianne's is in earnest, even though she mathematically she can't win. But like I've always kind of thought that like other individuals were trying to do, like you said, Mike Gravel light, or just like let's bring a lot more of this shit to the people's attention. You know, could be wrong.
For sure, and I think that you know, to be fair, we were talking about this the other day. The entrance of Cornel West into the race as a Green Party candidate, and that shocking poll, which I agree was kind of problematic. It said like 40% of young people were going to support Donald Trump, which I was like, I think that's fucking bullshit. Like, there's no way that 40% of 18 to 35 year olds are supporting Donald. Anyway, that seems really high.
Zoomers are way too based. Have you seen the polls? Zoomers like across the board are fucking
there aren't that
way
many
more left leaning.
There's too many, but there's not that many.
Y'all are a good generation. Y'all are like exceptionally queer, exceptionally progressive, exceptionally open. Like honestly, I do.
Up, you know.
Yeah, tatted up too. But like I don't see this whole thing where it's like all of a sudden all these Zoomers are suddenly thinking of voting for Donald Trump. Like what in what world? I don't know. I was calling cap on that to put it in the most Zoomer terms I could. But anyway, good. I didn't understand it. I was like, oh, what's he talking about?
Oh man, sometimes I put up sometimes I change my avatar whenever. So I always change my avatar to whoever I want to impersonate. But whenever I got to be a Zoomer, I got to put on my no cap, Captain Crunch.